Hello. Here we are again, and I'm looking forward to this evening. I've had an interesting several weeks. I've had lots of conversation with people, and I want to share, how shall I say, a spiritual, not a religious journey. I awakened several weeks ago in the middle of the night. Very unusual for me. I'm one of those people who's very fortunate and sleeps through. And if you remember, I was graduated college in the middle 1950s, and that was a totally different world. And I would spend an hour and a half in the morning going to school, an hour and a half at night coming home. That changed when I became a member of the basketball team and had a dorm room, but I still came home on weekends. And I learned to sleep. It was safe on the New York City subway, an hour and a half each way, and that has carried over into my adult life. I was awakened in the middle of the night, and there was a voice there, and you can accept it. It could have been my child self, or maybe it was an apparition. But the thought said, waiting for love. And that was it. Waiting for love. I was extremely excited. I thought about it. I fell back asleep. And I rarely have dreams, but when I awakened in the morning, I had forgotten the dream. And the only part that I remembered was waiting for love. My initial thought was W-A-I-T. And then it dawned upon me, and it's what I want to discuss with you. A baby lives inside its mother, being totally taken care of for 9 months. It's expelled, it's washed, it's wrapped, it's put away comfortably, it's brought back to its mother. It begins to fuss. The journey of the 9 months to this moment, when it's expelled from the mother, has got to be dramatic. And the reason it has to be dramatic is because we know that if a baby is birthed after about the 7th month, it will survive, and therefore there is awareness. It begins to fuss. The mother feeds it. And in many, many cases, the baby falls asleep. Comforted, warm, and the power of that moment stays with us. Those thoughts led to some other thoughts from the Bible. Cain and Abel were children of Adam and Eve. Cain was a shepherd, a hunter. Abel became a farmer because he didn't want to be involved with the earth. They both brought sacrifices to thank the Lord. Abel brought from the best of his crop. Cain brought whatever he brought. And the Bible says that, in a sense, the Lord ignored him and accepted Abel's sacrifice. There is Cain wanting to be loved. He is rejected. His anger is overflowing. And he kills Abel. One of the things that has become very clear to me is that the majority of overweight people use food for comfort. So what we're dealing with is the embodiment, the essence of who we are. From almost the moment of birth. I have no idea what this is. Hello? I have no idea what that is, so I'm just going to cut it out. You'll have to apologize, accept my apology, people, because whatever it was popped up on my screen. And they're not going away. So I have to, here, let's do this. It says someone wanted to chat with me, and I don't know how they found me, but not for me. Now, listen very carefully. As most of you know already, I was a severely learning disabled child in elementary school. I was what they today call ADHD, and I was also dyslexic. I was treated very badly by many of my fellow students. In my head, I knew I wasn't stupid, but to them, I was the dummy, and to my teachers, I was a pain, because not only couldn't I read, but I couldn't sit still. In second grade, my second grade teacher sent me out, and I found out afterwards because one of the girls shared with me. She sent me to the office to get something and reamed the class out for picking on me and told them on penalty of death they'd better be nice to me. I fell in love with that second grade teacher. And remember, it was a different world. I hitched a ride on the back of a trolley car and followed her home. Was caught, got in trouble, but I was in love with her because she gave me love. One of the things that I discovered is that almost every single person, on the days when they were successful on the program, felt good about themselves, felt in control, and shared with me feelings having to do with the magic protocol with a key understanding. Now, first, let's accept the fact I'm an adult, you're adults. If I decide to do the program, that's a good thing. If I decide not to do the program, that's okay too. Neither is better than the other. It's an adult decision. How and why I do it is more important. I don't think I've ever, and I'm excluding the word narcissism. That's narcissus for those of you who live in Rio Linda, sat on the edge of this pool and fell in love with her own reflection. The self-love that I am talking about has to do with being in control of me and feeling so good about being in control of me that it changes the way I look at everything. And with those people, and it was telephone conversations that I was having, when I helped them focus on the fact that when they went off the program, they did so because the pressure of whatever was going on in their life demanded comfort. I want to be comforted. I want to feel loved. And when I recognize that I am in control of me, then I like me because being in control of me feels good. That doesn't mean I'm not tempted. If you remember, we agreed that from the first few hours of life, food was used to make me comfortable, and I felt loved. I was wrapped. It was as though I was back in the womb again, being totally taken care of. I'm not 70, I'm not 60, I'm not 50, I'm not 40 any longer. But I see I have been trying to relate as though. I'm working very hard to accept the role of leader of the pack. My job is to interact with you and to help you recognize how your history from when you were a child to today, particularly if you are overweight, that you became overweight to find that feeling of comfort and love, to ease how it felt. And you were not taught to take that feeling of comfort and recognize how you could control you. Because the power of that food that gave you comfort will never diminish. And we live in a world and in a society where so much revolves around food. One of the realities is that people who are not overweight have stronger immune systems, are better able to deal with the pressures of life, have better immunity, and we have also, as I've shared with you, discovered that the Qigong breathing causes the body to increase its production of the telomerase enzyme, which not only supports your immune system, but will actually slow and reverse the aging process. What does this mean? Number one, let's get rid of good behavior, bad behavior when it comes to our interactions. Number two, there has to be some kind of structure in your life. Number three, I created the magic protocol, and think of it very, very simply. For all of us in this venue, we would not be talking if body weight were not an issue. So we are dealing with body weight, and we're also dealing with the fact that that weight is impacted by our food intake. When the pressure is great, it's extremely difficult to ignore the temptation and do something else. And when we are dishonest with ourselves, it makes things worse. The magic protocol is very simple. It's spiritual. It's not religious. What it says is that if I employ this behavioral entity, if I behave in a certain way, I will be able to be in control of me. And when I am in control of me, I like me better. All of the other things are habit. Think about how many times you, and I'm going to use the word, you cheated and then had guilt and remorse. No more. What these people and I discussed was the fact they had gone off. They accepted the fact that they had gone off. And we agreed to forgive ourselves because immediately we try to correct. And as we employ the magic protocol, every day we do so, it becomes easier to employ it. And the reason we employ it is because it gives us the power to ignore the temptation and move on. But it does something else as well. When you want to cheat, you're saying in the temptation, I want. You have every right to want. Which for you is more important? The momentary satisfaction that gives you comfort, or the realization that you weren't hungry, you were simply doing this to comfort yourself, and by employing the magic protocol, you got both. You were able to control without damage, and you gave yourself something. The second thing was that the interaction between myself and the individuals that I was talking about created greater awareness. You see, speaking for me, when I control me, I like me better. And I noticed I had a patient call up. The number of times she called me was more than 10 in 1 week. When I stepped back, I recognized she was needy. But the moment I recognized that she was needy, I responded to her with total calmness and respect. And when I treated her in that way, she calmed down and took better care of herself. And I got the reward. I liked me better because I didn't give in to my, it was there, irritation, annoyance. I didn't see it except after about the third time. And I realized she felt that I had the power to comfort her. And I did so by helping her comfort herself. By the time we did 13 days, I now get a call maybe twice a week. She's not holding back. She likes calling me. She likes the information I give her. She likes the advice and things that I suggest. But she's more happy with the fact that as she is gaining more and more control over herself, that self that was lost to her, the self that said you're not capable, the source that said you're needy, was simply behavior that was built into her life from childhood. All of us are much more capable of doing what we do. But when habit strikes, it's thoughtless. Now, I am going to be calling people. I want to know how you're doing. I want to know what conflicts that you have wherein I can help you. I'm going to be calling. I want nothing other than to be able to hold your hand as we walk through the forest. For you, it's an unknown forest. In fact, I want to tell you a story, an interesting one, very quickly. Many, many, many years ago, around the time of Abraham Lincoln, I was the head counselor. I was also in social work school in those days, at a social work camp. And I sent this group out for a hike. And when they came back, some of them were very excited, sharing with me, oh, it was terrific, and we made it in record time. And I thought about it. Here they are going through the forest, and they made it there and back in record time. And that bothered me. So I had a little contest with them. I said, tomorrow, I want you to do the same round trip again with 2 changes. Change number 1, I want to see how much longer you can make it. And no, I want you to share with me how many things that you otherwise did not see that you saw on the trip. Learning about yourself is part of this journey of AccuWait. We are all waiting to be loved. But if I love myself, if I am in control of myself, I don't have to wait, because it feels so good knowing that this guy that I like is in control of himself, and that makes him feel absolutely marvelous. I would ask that you go to Dr. S at AccuWait.com and send me questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And when I call you, please don't hesitate to ask. I want this journey to be an absolutely enjoyable one. I want you to be successful because being successful feels good. And there's something I absolutely believe in, and that is the universe is totally interconnected, and that like attracts like. So what we send out into the universe is going to attract what's similar, and it will change our lives. It will help us maintain, and I will work very hard to do more of these and find better ways of sharing and interacting. Thank you for inviting me into your space. I hope I have opened a door for our interaction and greater introspection and learning. To your continued success.